Fáilte is Jacharícht and Chatting to Harja. Welcome to another week here in the snug upstairs in Maddens Bar in Belfast. This is Music at Maddens. The podcast drops every single Monday, and each week we bring you conversations with members of the traditional music family from home and abroad, near and far, and loads of stories about music and about life and everything else in between. We would love your help to keep this podcast going, so if you would like and comment and share on whatever platform you're listening to us on, or maybe if you're watching on YouTube, that would really help. And without further ado, let's see who's in the snug this week. We're back to the Mr. and Mrs. series here on Music at Maddens this week. We bring Tyrone and Tipperary together. We've got Ryan O'Donnell and Tracy Ryan in the snug. How are you doing?
Great.
Good, isn't it?
Absolutely great. Delighted to be here.
I haven't got the Mr. and Mrs. questions prepared for you, just in case you were a wee bit worried there by that introduction. Dave was sweating a wee bit, were you?
We met here, and I think it was the first time, so that's coincidental.
Yeah. So who? Well, then you've opened the door, man. I'm just going to ask all the questions about who done the chatting up. Then who was it? Who approached who?
Me. Yeah.
Did you?
I did. So first time in Maddens, first time in Belfast, and came in along, and Ryan was playing up on stage there with Rory O'Kane and Desi Adams
or something on that
CD launch. And Ryan was in my view anyway, and I was watching him there. I said, geez, he's a mighty musician. And then the first thing we often laugh about this, I said, geez, he's a lovely pair of legs. Yeah. Must have been the jeans, I don't know.
You must have been out early that day.
So
and it wasn't the lovely wee baby face?
Well, that too. That came next then. Yeah. The smile, yeah. And
that was probably 2009, and then sure, we didn't really get chatting, but we went down to Brosna. The Concurtain Festival was on in Brosna a week or two later. And we went down to that and, got chatting and stuff. And out of that weekend, and there was 3 marriages.
I don't believe it.
There was a good friend of mine, Patrick Howell there from Tyrone, met his wife that weekend, and Edel Fox and Neil Byrne met the same weekend, and there was 3 marriages out of that weekend in Brosna. So that was a follow-on to Maddens, yeah.
Oh, that's a brilliant story.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Brosna. Brilliant.
Yeah.
All the romances.
Great weekend below in Brian Mooney's granny's house.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
In Brosna.
Great festival during the time of the year.
Yeah. So that's where it all started then.
All the hot spots and all these wee places that are well known for music, just bringing people together. And I suppose that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It is. It's class.
Yeah.
You said your first time to Belfast then in 2009.
That's right. Yeah. Came up with neighbours of mine. Well, Sean Fitzpatrick, originally from Belfast. Married to Breda Fitzpatrick, and they pulled up outside the door one Friday evening. This will tell you how many minutes I had to get ready. And they said, come on, Tracy Bawn, as I'm known as at home, they said, we're going to Belfast. I said, we're what? Yeah, we're going to Belfast the weekend, come on. So I literally had a half an hour to get ready. I didn't know what I was letting myself in for. And sure, we had the best crack ever. It was just brilliant.
Can you remember what were your first impressions of the city?
I remember driving in and seeing the big sphere, and it was all lit up, driving in.
You now know that it's the balls and the falls.
The balls and the falls, I do, yeah. We were only talking about that on our way up this morning as well. Yeah. And then just arriving into Maddens, and the camera, as you're the camera at the door, and you had to wait to be buzzed in, and I was like, geez, what's this about, and walked in along anyway, and I suppose it was different, but in a way, there was so much music and musicians, and it was just brilliant, it was just fabulous.
It's almost like another world when you open that door downstairs, and you never know who's going to be in here. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You open the door, let's see who's about, and then let's see who comes in, and then up the stairs, it opens up another bit of a world as well, with usually yourself, Ryan, and Desi and Rory and the brother in the corner there playing the tunes, maybe Stevie Dunn as well. It was a great, you were part of the furniture here for so long.
I go up to college in 2002, and then kind of came back 6 months after finishing college and kind of lived there then to August 2013. And sure, during that time, would have been playing music regularly, would have been playing White's Tavern was the first one. It had music 3 nights a week back in those days, like with Dara Murphy, Colin Regan, different fellas. And there was just loads of music then. And then living up on the Antrim Road, you'd be, the taxi'd pull up. You wouldn't know who'd be in the taxi because, so many musicians was up there. You wouldn't know who you'd be playing with that night.
Oh, I remember those days. I remember the parties down in your house.
Oh, it was great. Now I'm not saying the neighbours other side of me now mightn't have said it was great, but it was the Heartbreak Hotel. Shane McAleer christened it. But there was some crack now, and it was kind of somebody back nearly every Saturday night.
And I also ran a great appreciation for all music in your house, we have to say, because I remember from the nights that I landed into parties in your house, there was this lovely border you had. You're really into the interior design.
Yeah.
And there was a class border of vinyl covers as you went down into the kitchen and down into the back room of the house.
Yeah.
And I remember was this Philomena Begley?
Yeah.
The Queen.
I seen that one day, said I'll buy that there for fear Lynette comes back some night. She'll like that one.
The Queen was there, the Queen got pride of place, and it was just brilliant every time you went. When the drink was in, everybody started roaring about Philomena Begley in OD's house. It was just class. But it was real, you're right there about the Antrim Road, though, the real sense of community. And then, we're seeing that now today, where the Antrim Road's turning out to be a great place. So many musicians living up in that part of the city. But OD, you left us. You went away. Tracy, you stole him. You stole him.
I left, all right. We were debating where to go. We kind of maybe move back down to Oma.
Yeah.
Or stay here or go down to your side of the country. But it was, I was, happy to go in one way, but you regret, the people that you were here with and all that when you were away. But it was good that, equally if you would have came here or I went down as I did.
Yeah.
You kind of had all the musicians even as a beginning, that you knew a lot of them, so it was easier to settle in, I think. And the music has that, because you can call on people from different parts of the country that you'd be acquainted with.
You find that no matter where you go or where you settle, the music community is so small, and we all get along. Everybody is just I suppose like-minded people, really. Whether we settled in Tip or Tyrone.
Yeah.
We were going to be happy anyway.
Yeah. We were too far from us,
Yeah.
Well, it seems though that Ryan, from Tyrone to Belfast and then down to Tip, though, is it Gortacula? Is that
That's right,
Gortacula? And then you've written a Gortacula, is it a polka?
Yeah.
You've written O'Day for this new album. And I just thought, as a Tyrone man going down to Munster, and then they get a hold of him, and now he's writing polkas. Come on, what's happened?
I know.
You've done a great job, Tracy. A great job.
And if you're
right good at the polkas.
If you're about there on a Monday night there, you'd see me
holding a hurley as well.
After children with a hurley as well. So that's the effect
totally
that it has.
Converted altogether, yeah.
But I will writ 20 tunes to date, 6 of them are on the record, and kind of that particular song, a polka would have went well after it, and then there was another song on it where a hop jig kind of worked well, so I kind of said I'd write a polka for it, and there's a great old track that we would have listened to there. Is it Miss Bailey from Mick Hanley, really?
Yes.
And there's a kind of a very well arranged polka at the end of that. So a polka would go well at the end of this song, as did the hop jig at the end of the Thinking Ever Thinking.
Yes.
So it'll be the one and only I've written now, but...
But the thing is, what I love about that, and you said there about the 6 tunes on the album, and the new album is out now, Ferry Island, and you'll be gigging at the Fla and at Tradfest.
Yeah.
But what I loved here, OD, is that you're usually in the background backing everybody else up.
Yeah.
And even though it's you and Tracy here, you're kind of coming to the fore a wee bit, and we're seeing a wee bit more of you and your prowess and your talent as a musician is coming to the fore, and I love that.
Yeah, well, it's a good opportunity to do that, because when you're asked to go on accompany records, it's a real privilege. I love doing that, but you don't really have any say in what sets you're accompanying or whatever. You just have to go in and do that. But in this one, we kind of work together shortlist the songs, compose a couple of melody for one of the songs, get some tunes in there, and you're able to do your own arrangements on the songs. So it was really like that, as you say. You've more of a say really on what goes down on the record.
Yeah, because normally you're kind of feeling what everybody else is doing. You know, it's maybe you're pushing, you're pulling. You have to really be so tuned in to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
This time you're very much in the driver's seat. How different was that experience for you?
It was great. I loved arranging for songs and, you know, layering up the tracks. We didn't really have any other musicians in mind when we went down to record the record, so I kind of was going down and maybe doing, for example, a bouzouki on it or whatever, and then maybe a second bouzouki or harmonium or something like that. And it was just great. You'd go away. We done it over kind of 8 visits to Dingle, the record, maybe 10 with the mixing and mastering.
Yeah.
So you'd come away and then you kind of go back and listen to it, and then you go, oh, we'll layer that up there. So I loved that. Loved arranging for songs, and, you know, picking the instrumentation for them, seeing where the, you know, how to select, you know, what instruments play on it as well. Came up with some good techniques, you know, like, for example, the double whistle is a great technique.
Yes.
You know, the harmonium was a great thing on the record as well. It was a good kind of a drone tool as well, and just coming up with wee riffs and melodies and things like that. So I loved that, and then just fired in some of the compositions into the record as well.
So you just really got stuck into it creatively. And was it easy working with each other on an album?
Well, I have to say, like, Ryan, when he came up with this idea originally, like, he really took the reins, you know, and he put so much time and effort into it, like, in, you know, going down to the library, whether it was into Nina in Tipperary or up to the Oma library, and he could spend hours upon hours going through songbooks and literally thousands of songs, like. And, you know, at the end of the day, we picked out, you know, 7 or 8 songs that we were kind of happy to work on and that would kind of suit me. And I suppose Ryan knows my style of singing as well. That, you know, that was a great...
Oh, we done that together, and literally, Lynette, you're probably into the thousands of songs, like, to try and get it down to a short list of 8 or 10, really. So that took years, that part of it, I think, didn't it, the 2 of us?
But you had a great ear, though, as well, for, you know, you naturally, like, to decide what would work well with us, what would make us sound...
Yeah,
but you know, bring out the best sound, I suppose.
What could be performed by maybe 2 people, you know, because you have to perform it, and, you know, you'd also have to try and, you know, it's hard to get fast songs as well.
Yeah.
A lot of songs are slow. And we've 2 kind of fastish ones on it, and it was a struggle to even
get those.
Get a short list of those.
Yeah.
But may I say also, you know, you're talking there about melody and pace and researching the songs, but what really struck me about the songs and your sleeve notes as well, which are brilliant and so much detail, very, very appreciative of that. And I think anybody who is into music or into history or into that placement of stuff is very appreciative when someone does take the time to do the research for good sleeve notes. And that's why it's always important to have the hard copy. But the songs you've chosen, they're big songs. And they're very, very powerful messages. And you made a point on the sleeve notes as well of saying, this is possibly a narrative that we don't hear very often. This is a message we don't hear very often. So I was interested in that. Did that come from both of you? Or was that just you specifically, Tracy? Because there's a lot of feminism in the songs as well. There's a lot of standing up for women.
Oh, there is, yeah. Like, in particular, there was... You'd find there's a lot of linkage between... say Napoleon Bonaparte in our songs and say women that are kind of left behind during the wars and the struggles, and you know they're pining and they're hoping that they'll be back someday to them. Like with me personally, when I'm singing a song, I have to be able to connect with it as well. As you know yourself, I'm a real softie anyway, but I think the message in a lot of them is it's just true, I suppose,
from the perspective of women, really. Like if you take I Love at Waterloo, like, and Donal Logue, that's that theme, really, aren't they, from the perspective of a woman, really, of
they
somebody
are,
going to war or whatever.
Yeah. I suppose sad, lonely. It's kind of that message of, I suppose, missing your loved one, I suppose, as well. That was a real connection for me, and
Yeah, but the woman that said being the strong one as well, and keeping things going. And then I did wonder, because there's a lovely message in the sleeve notes from your daughters, and that the daughters were giving you advice as you went along.
Yeah.
This is Maeve and Grania, aged what, 6 and 9.
6 and 9. Yeah.
I've got this the image in my head of, oh no, mummy, no, you don't want to be doing that, daddy. No, daddy, or a wee bit more of this, a wee bit more of that.
Yeah.
How did that conversation go?
Actually, it went
fine, like
pretty well now, to be honest.
Any of the tunes composed, you'd be running them past them, and the songs. So they would be telling you.
Did you actively went after their feedback? You were asking them, what did you think?
You'd get it whether you wanted it or not.
Yeah, they were involved in the whole process too, really, weren't they? Like, and it's funny because, like, do you know, when you're younger, your taste in music and songs are very different to what they would be now in later years, and I really noticed that now. Yeah. Even just from, like, your inspirations, I suppose, and the music and the melody was very important when you're younger, and then as you grow older, I think it's the message and the words that mean more to me now. Like, And I was kind of thinking a lot of the stuff we had picked was kind of going to go over their heads a bit, and they mightn't have much interest in it, and sure they're used to listening to their mother squeaking and squawking in the kitchen anyway. Yeah. But they loved it. Like, they loved the tunes as well. They really they were picking up the tin whistle and playing away, and they had Ryan's polka off in a couple of days. And
they're part of it too. Like, and the name of the album's after a tune I composed called Fairy Island. Like, a fairy island is down the back of our house. It's a wee bit of a, the Mulcair River runs past it, and some years ago then the river kind of came in around a piece of land making an island. So that would have been really, we hadn't a clue. Like, there was no name on the record at all, and somebody said to me about 2 or 3 weeks before we launched it, and we went through every song lyric on it trying to get a 2, 3, 4 word album title. Couldn't get anything, and then we just kept this Fairy Island, sure, like that's down the back. That was their area where they played and things like that. So that was kind of named by them, and that's how we ended up with it. Other than that, we wouldn't have had a name on the record at all.
Well, we were thinking maybe Out by Mattie's is an expression we use at home in Newport. Like, geez, that set of tunes there, geez, Out by Mattie's by, it's
like
just
a compliment or something.
It was a compliment, geez, Out by Mattie's. But then we were afraid then someone would say, who's Mattie? And I was like, geez, I'd done more phone calls and I was going, lads, who's Mattie? And and nobody knew, so I was like, no, we'll scrap that. So I suppose Fairy Island, and we've a little laugh, I suppose, now and again when we talk about Fairy Island, because it's we often say, ourselves, along with Charlie Haughey, we're probably the only two that have an island. Our own island out the back.
I love it. Maybe that's just how he is rolling, Tip. We have the private island down the back.
Yeah.
Big stuff.
So tell me about growing up then in your area. You've mentioned Newport there, Tracy, and it's a small but mighty in terms of music.
It is, yeah. Like, I suppose I was born in Craigburthill, which would be halfway between Burthill and Newport. And I started playing music at the age of 10, which was considered kind of, she's a bit of a late starter, But like, from knee high to grasshopper, my father, Tommy Bond, used to play the button accordion and the clappers, which are the castanets. And he'd always, every Sunday morning, right, we're heading up now to McGrath's Bar. And then in later years, it was on to Sullivan's for tunes, and Murty Ryan, box player from Tour, which would be just up the road outside Newport. And Sean Fitzpatrick, you'd have the likes of the Maloney's, Marcus Maloney, Banjo, Rona Maloney, their family from Capmore, Ger Maloney. You'd have the Carberrys, Foxy Carberry. He's no stranger here to Maddens in Belfast now as well. And poor old Foxy, we lost him there not too long ago as well. But Martin Burns, we'd great collection of musicians and singers, and great folk singers, And from then in my teenage years, then I was introduced to the Deirdre O'Brien Vaughan in County Clare, and say I met a load of my friends that I'll definitely be friends with for the rest of my life there, you know. I was part of a Cayley band and a group of Kjol, and that really just directed me straight down the trad path, like, you know, and the sessions, and I suppose the friendships and the crack, and just loved it, like. But
And then when did you discover that, you know, because you played the flute and the whistle and you're
Yes.
also a singer and we hear everything on the album.
Yeah.
When did you realise that the voice was going to be the central or have as central a role in your life as it has done? Was that a decision or discovery?
I suppose decision really in my later years. You know, it was more of a discovery when I was younger. When I was involved there with the group in County Clare, say, back, I suppose I was around 17, we were asked to go on a tour over to Michigan, over to Ann Arbor in Michigan. And I went over there with Carl Lynch, Blackie O'Connell, Paul Delaney, we had John Blake and Shawnee McGrath. And they needed a couple of songs as well to go along with it for St. Patrick's Day. And they were like, oh, the ball will sing a few songs there now, you know. And I was like, yeah. So we put together like 5 or 6 songs. But I would have sang a few songs at home in Newport now as well during the sessions, 1 or 2. Like Mary Black would have been a big inspiration to me when I was younger, and Dolores Kane, you know. But I suppose that was my first time then kind of looking at the more traditional songs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older, like, and through Ryan and different connections, I kind of started getting more of an interest in, you know, Frank Hart and like Al O'Donnell and, you know, all these, like Dick Gahan, like, and which I would never have been really aware of in Tipperary that much, you know. So that was the Belfast, I suppose, and the northern influence coming in,
but
you know.
The thing about it is, I suppose, but it's like you too going down to Tipperary, you know, and embracing the polkas and the different types of tunes down there.
Yeah.
Every region has got different types of music and songs that come to the fore. Yeah. And I think that's the gorgeous thing about it, is that then whenever you're immersed in a different place for a wee while, a whole different world opens up. You take out of it whatever you want and take it with you. But it's great to, I think it gives you that perspective, and it almost like presses the refresh button on everything, like. And it seems that the two of you have found that through meeting each other and being introduced to each other's musical worlds, really.
Yeah.
And you hope you'd bring a part of each person's regional music with you. Into the other, because even playing tunes down there now, like I play mostly in County Limerick and County Clare, and it'd be a different style of playing really than it would be here, than it would be in Dublin and various different places. So you just have to tap into that really, and you would be respectful of the music that's been played in those areas as well.
Yeah.
So you've gone from Pigeon Top to Cave Hill to Keeper Hill. You've done you've gone all the mountains there. OD,
gone to the mountain ranges there, aren't you?
There's no sign of a tip accent there at all now at all. I have to report.
Not yet. I must put a bit more time into it. I've got the wee.
Don't you dare!
I've got the wee Maeve there. I've got them saying words like I and we, so doing all right there.
And what about, is there a tip accent then on your music where you say, you know, you're being respectful when you sit into a session and that? Do you find that your music has had to change in any way?
Definitely. Well, the first thing struck me, like the bars in Belfast were loud. And even, you know, if you're playing in the Garrick there or whatever, or in here on a Saturday night, like the bars tend to be quite loud. And just maybe the types of gigs I was doing down there, you know, playing on Wednesday night, and it's mainly for tourists, Americans eating. So that was the first thing struck me. It's, you no longer had to play now as a necessity. You had to kind of just listen more. And that didn't go for every night, but yeah, you definitely did. There's more like playing out in County Limerick, like to be a lot of polkas and stuff. So I eventually started to enjoy them. Whereas up here, my experience of polkas, I've been playing them in a Cayley band or whatever, and didn't particularly enjoy them as such, but I really enjoy them now.
Hearing them differently?
Hearing them differently and learning how to accompany them and play them, and hearing where the pushes and the rhythm should go in them, as opposed to maybe just being reels and jigs players, having to play polkas. So a couple of things like that now have had to happen.
And how did you fall into accompaniment? Because you've been doing that since you were very young.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we've mentioned before, it's the job of holding everybody else up in a way.
Yeah.
And I think even anybody listening to this chat now or watching it will have copped on that you have a particular type of temperament, maybe. And I wondered, was the decision to be the accompanist, that's not easy to say. Was that temperament or accident?
Both started off doing piano lessons, really classical lessons, and then started learning traditional music at about 11 or 12, and then because I had a bit on the piano, would have used that maybe. My dad would have played the guitar and played around the pubs and stuff, so he would have learned the 3-chord trick pretty early then. So would have been going at the guitar and probably got a bouzouki then at about 16. So always had a huge interest in it. All types of accompaniment, piano accompaniment. You would have been listening to the likes of Charlie Lennon or whatever. Guitar playing, you'd be influenced by the likes of McGlynn and Cooney and all that, and then on the bouzouki, 2 different styles of playing, but equally as brilliant. Alec Finn and O'Donnell. So always just had an interest in it, and would have been playing the banjo then all my life as well. But it's just funny the way that it goes. The phone always rings for an accompanist and tends to ring less for somebody to actually go and play a melody instrument, in particular the banjo, because most people hate it. So
Ryan has this thing about
there's a bit of that.
banjo.
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. I absolutely, I love the banjo.
So still playing that, but pretty much been accompanying all down through the years really, and love it. And even this record's give the opportunity now to use it in a kind of a song, in the way of the song and arranging that, and that's different again to accompanying tunes, because you just have to put different thought into it really, and just trying to develop the arrangement for the songs and stuff. So yeah, doing it from a young age, Lynette, really.
And then was that part of the reason why you chose to work with Donna Hennessy? And then Eamon Michael Holmes worked on this record as well, didn't he?
Well, we recorded the record down with Donna, and Donna ended up playing on 4 tracks on it, and I kind of always wanted a bit of fiddle on the record, and got Shane McAleer on it. Look, Shane's brilliant player, and particularly on songs as well.
Yes.
So we recorded Shane up in Eamon's really over a couple of hours one Saturday or a half day or whatever. So we done it over the 2 studios. But Donna was just great to work with. Like, he would never tell you what to do. He just record away. Like, we came in fairly organised, I think, with the arrangements written down, and just went in and recorded it. But he's brilliant in the studio, and he's doing these launches with us, Donna, now, and he's just very, very good. Like, he's got a great sound in the guitar, knows his sound, his gear is just perfect. And just when it comes to songs and that finger picking style that he has, really, he's a real asset on the launches as well. He's fantastic at that stuff.
But also I wonder, working with him though in a studio context, is there like almost a meeting the minds there also, because he's coming at the music maybe from the same place you're coming from it, or coming from as well, being the accompanist, and has been there with, big bands, big setups, small setups, like right through his career.
Definitely. Like, you'd throw stuff at him, wouldn't you, just to say, I don't think that works. Do you think it works? And he might say yes, and he might say, I don't think that adds anything to it, So it was good that way, Lynette, that we had his input into it, as opposed to maybe somebody less accustomed to kind of that type of music. Yeah.
And I wonder, like, so you're zoning in on your music, and it's very refined in this setting and in the context of recording an album. But the two of you have been, in sessions in different types of bands right down through the years. Just as you're talking there as well, and you're talking about accompaniment, from Oma, like Artie McGlynn comes to mind. You've been surrounded by some of the best in the business, Ryan, your whole life. Do you think do you almost learn from osmosis from those types of people when you're exposed to them?
You definitely do. Like, you have to kind of study them all. Like, in my favourite, there's people I would have studied obviously would have been the people that I mentioned there, those, and Artie would be one of them, obviously. And, he made that groundbreaking record, really. McGlynn's Fancy, I think, is probably somewhere in the late 70s, like, and then you would have had Dick Gahan released a record of reels and jigs on the guitar called Coppers and Brass, like, so all that stuff, I would go back to that all the time. Old analog recordings, and those boys got fantastic sounds. So you have all that stuff to go back to and study. And obviously on the bouzouki side of it, you've got all the planksy stuff with Lonnie and all the accompaniment he does with Frank Hart and all that. So you have all that, and definitely would have studied that and listened carefully to it and try and take away techniques from it and stuff that you can apply either playing or equally recording techniques that you can bring in and see what actually works in the studio as well.
I've just wondered how the two minds have come together. Like, you can see you're so into it, and that you've really found something here that you could latch into. And honestly, sounds like you've left so much stuff behind that a second album wouldn't be completely out of the question. I know let's get the first one out in the world at this stage than that first before we would think of the second. Yeah. But Tracy, like, your musical brain as well was well tuned whenever you went to Limerick as well. Yeah. And I wondered, why did you choose to study music at that stage of your life? Like, what was it? Were you seeking something else out?
Oh, definitely. Like, when I finished school, I had toured and I had gotten a taste for the music and I suppose the traveling and then I suppose it kind of sidetracked me in my education side of things, and I went off and done a secretarial course, and I got to work with some lovely people in Limerick City and through different office jobs, and I worked as a legal secretary for nearly 15 years in Limerick City. But I always knew that I felt I was missing out on the music, and there was always that kind of feeling inside that I need to do more, like, with this. So definitely meeting Ryan, it opened up that door for me, and the encouragement as well, obviously. Sure, why wouldn't you do it? Like, this is, you should go for it,
You were clearly feeling the itch. You just needed someone to give you that wee push, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be an overly confident person anyway, by nature, and I suppose I just needed that little bit of guidance and somebody, I suppose, to push me along, like, so.
But they're tough. I think your 30s are tough years, like, because we've down had 2 children and you went back and done teaching then in your 30s. So I think that decade is very difficult to throw a huge amount of time at something. Maybe when you're on the day job as well, it's difficult to find the time, I think, to push at the music, whereas a bit more time in the last couple of years, we feel, and that's probably why we went for it.
Easier, like, but like the course in UL now was fabulous too, like, and it just, again, it's all about connections, and it's getting that chance to practice your music and break it down into little bits. And like Ryan was saying, when you're playing in sessions, you don't, sometimes, I suppose, you're not really putting much work into the intricate kind of ornamentations and those little fine-tuning details as a musician, that the likes of Sylvan Barrow or like Matt Malloy could spend maybe a few hours just working on one bar, if you know what I mean. Whereas, like, in a session, you're blasting it out, and it's trying to you're playing your best, but at the same time, in UL, we got to kind of, in the Irish Traditional Music Centre, we got to kind of meet masters in the field, like, of flute playing, like Conal O'Grada and, as I said, Matt Malloy, and like, we got to strip back the music and kind of really, I learned so much there, like, over the 4 years, musically, and what I was actually capable of doing. And I also got into the singing part of it then as well. So we were able to take on a second instrument during that course. So I took on the fiddle, which I absolutely adored, with Eileen O'Brien, Tipperary woman as well, Paddy O'Brien's daughter. And then I done a singing module as well with Myrna Cowliff. And I got to know Myrne then down in Limerick, and sure, I was just obsessed. I just loved Myrne's voice, and I loved her songs, and I loved the way she had so much information about the song. It kind of made me realise, it's again, going back to what I had said earlier, it's not just about the melody, it's about the story.
Yeah.
You know? So then after that, then, we got married, say, when I finished up that course kind of a year or two after, and, you know, life happened and we had two gorgeous girls and it got busy, and music kind of took a little backseat for a little while for me anyway.
But the ages they're at now, they're starting to gain that wee bit of independence and start their own wee lives and all the rest of it. And you see that it's not to say they don't need you. Of course, they always need you. But there's that wee bit more space for you coming to the fore.
Absolutely.
And the music has very evidently filled that space and given you that time to really focus on it. And just to say, Tracy, because you mentioned the songs there a couple of times, do you think you're, you know, being a mother, having that life experience under your belt, do you hear songs differently now?
Definitely.
The land differently.
The message that comes across, again, like for me as a singer, it's all about connecting with the song and the words more so than the melody, you know, and actually getting that feeling across to the audience is very important for me, you know. So as a mother, I suppose the life lessons you learn, like in the Irish song tradition, I suppose there's a lot of loss, unrequited love, sadness, I suppose. And like as we get older, you kind of, you know, life throws certain, you know, things your way at you, like, you know.
I think a lot of the songs as well, like we had a lot of notes and songs, and we sent them off to Marcus and Murray, who actually to have a look through them, and he says, I'll send this to my friend Dr. John Molden down in Donegal. And there's 6 or 8 A4 pages of like not only like the history of where the song travelled from, who brought the song in, but just even about the story of the song. And
stuff you'd never know.
It was a real job actually to get it down into something like, I think that's like a 12-page book, but it could have been 24 if you had have included all. It was a real job actually to get it down, condense it down into something that, you know, wasn't really, really long. So I think the stories in them songs is huge.
Like the song Napoleon Bonaparte, the Bonnie Bunch of Roses, like from a mother's perspective, you know, she's trying to tell him to slow down, don't be overconfident, take your time, or, you know, you can see what happened to your dad, basically, losing the Bonnie Bunch of Roses.
You
know, just kind of take
really strong messages there, I think.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but also, I think that the pair of you as parents, you know, showing your young girls that this is what your mummy and daddy do. This is who we are. You know, this is something we're passing down to you. Like it's a really gorgeous thing. They, you know, they have no idea of any of it just yet. But in years to come, they'll remember this time, I'd say, and particularly because you included them in the process.
Yeah. I think that was another reason why. That was the main reason, really. I think why we decided to do this album was to have something for them. You know, to actually...
It's a snapshot of where you're at in that particular time, and then they look back on it in years to come. And particularly, you know, the compositions and stuff that they might have had a say in and things like that.
And that association of where you're from and where we're both from, and bringing in, you know, our lives. I think
whatever you expose children to, they'll suck it up. Like, I think, you know, if it's music or other hobby sports and stuff like that, the more they're at it, I think the more they'll
exposure, really, like, you know, and how much they're exposed to it. I remember growing up as a small child, and my memory every Saturday morning without fail at 7:00 was Kieran McMahuna coming on the radio. And I knew, like, that was up now, girls, like, we have to go, probably dosing cattle or it's just something random, like, you know. But, you know, there was always music on and about, like, in the house all the time, you know.
Those are the ages for core memories. And I'd say a core memory the girls have, OD, is of their dad, the big northern accent now in the middle of Tipperary. I'd say you might stand out. Would that be fair?
It's embarrassing at times because you know, you could have three under 10 teams going to a blitz, like, and you know, you could have one of them there, and you're
like, what is he saying?
What would that boy know about camogie? It's ringing in your head, like, when you're giving instructions. So there is that, but sure, what can you do?
Yeah.
You know,
Ryan, you know plant day. You know plant day. Oh my gosh. What has been
paranoia.
what has the experience been like of moving down and uprooting and heading down there?
Been good. I think the start, you know, it's lonely enough because whenever you have children, you get to meet a lot of different parents because you're all in the same boat and you're all standing down doing the same hobbies. But at the start, you know, it was very much just work. You're just working, playing a hell of a lot less music as well. Like, it would have been playing probably too much music here, really. Like, you would have been out there. Used to do the Garrick on a Wednesday, like, and O'Donnell used to be very good, like, give me a shout an awful lot of Thursdays, and didn't do much on a Friday. Saturday was over in the corner with the kind of later years Shane and Barry, and then used to do like a 4-hour thing in the Garrick. That was nearly every week, and then you would have been doing other things. So to go from that, and as I say, they're getting the taxi down the road, you know, and you might always had a couple of drinks and stuff, and up for work the next day. You went from all that like zero. You might have had a bit of music every 6 weeks. So it was a bit of a shock at the start, but it's great now. Like, it's settling in great. But you miss home, and I miss up round home as well. It'd be very good to go up, you know, and stay in contact and be up and around there, you know. But
it's one of these things, when you go home, and you don't be going out around the town, and you don't be doing things like that. You're very focused on going to the home house, and that's it, isn't it?
Going and visiting people and things like that. But where we're living too, like, it's not too bad. It's kind of, we're at the top of Munster, if you like, really. We're kind of 20 minutes from Neenah, 20 minutes from Limerick. You could be a hell of a lot further south. Like, you could be West Cork, even down where Donna is there, or you could be out in Belmullet, Mayo, or Gweedore somewhere. We're not too bad. It's 4 hours to get up the road, but it's from that perspective, it makes it that bit easier to try and get up, maybe an average once a month. But you'll always miss home, won't you? Like, I think, but happy down there at the same time.
I have a funny feeling, Ryan O'Donnell, that Tyrone will always be with you. I'd say wherever you go, you buy it.
Well, it's funny. Myself and Shane done the Keola Rock programme probably, I don't know, this time last year, maybe a bit longer, and we were doing it in Oma, and, you know, Darren asked us, you know, just quick fire questions, you know, where are the music here, like, and what about the composers? And I didn't really have an answer for that. Like, now if you were able to think about the question, there would be probably a lot of different people playing, you know, composing music, like, and I think the older composers, you would have had, for example, like Sean Nugent, who'd be Fermanagh, like, but on the border, but, you know, brought out brilliant tunes, like, and there's a tune book of all his stuff. So I was completely stumped by the question. I didn't have an answer for it. Don't know if it was shown on the programme or not, but after that I kind of said, you know, not all these tunes, but a lot of the tunes you kind of want to have a bit of maybe a Tyrone theme, for that reason as well, that they're kind of indigenous to the county, like. So for example, they're I don't know, there's a good few, but the jigs, for example, like, the jigs are kind of spires and the sperrins. That's about basically driving down the Dromore Road in Oma, and you can kind of see all the church spires there, and the sperrins are kind of in the backdrop, really. So that's what that's about. And then there's another tune, All Around the Border. That's about us going away every Sunday to visit the 2 sets of grandparents.
Yes.
In the 90s, you know, like, and that's before the border roads were opened up. Like, my mother's people would be just over the Donegal side, and my dad's being just in the Tyrone side. So kind of writ tunes about that. So any more they write, you know, we'll be trying to kind of write some of them at least, kind of with that theme of home as well, you know. And
also telling stories about a particular time, or a view, or a lovely spot, something that means something to you. Exactly. I love that. Now that you find that, I think the tunes are fantastic, Ryan.
Yeah.
And I hope long may it last, and long may your confidence shine as a singer as well, Tracy, because this is a absolutely beautiful album. And
thanks very much.
Congratulations. So much work. Clearly a labour of love, you know, by the way you're talking about it. And it's out now. Ferry Island, Tracy Ryan and Ryan O'Donnell, thank you so much to both of you for joining us in the Snug today. Music at Maddens.
Thanks very much, Nash.
Lovely
Pleasure.
to be here.